mádé ẹ̀yin lọ́mọ onígbò máa wọ̀ igbó máa wọ̀ gbàjòjì ò gbọ́dọ̀ wọ̀ àjòjì tó bá wọ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ á tẹ̀lé ní ẹbọra. Ẹ̀yin lọ máa náwó kóyìnbó tó dé ìgbà tó yìnbó dé o owó náà dẹ́ tún pọ̀ sí o Koiki Media ṣàwa ní bàbá. Koiki Media àwọn ní bàbá. Koiki Media àwọn ní bàbá. Àdáńtọ́ àtúnpèrègèdè. Koiki Media àwọn ní bàbá. Àwa là ń gbé tò lárugẹ jẹ́ ká jọ gbọ́ o. Koiki Media àwọn ní bàbá. Àtúnjà fẹ́tọ̀ ilẹ̀ wa fẹ́tọ̀ ilẹ̀ Yorùbá. Koiki Media àwọn ní bàbá. Ọmọ Oòduà ni wá o tọkàntọkàn. Koiki Media àwọn ní bàbá. Ikú tí ó ṣe bí lébi òsì àdìmú bàbá iyọ̀. Koiki Media àwọn ní bàbá. We bring you up closer to your doorstep. Koiki Media àwọn ní bàbá. Afẹ́fẹ́ tó ń fẹ́ òòdùn kan kí oko lára ni. Koiki Media àwọn ní bàbá. Àpèrègèdè Olódùmarè ló fún wa ṣe. Koiki Media àwọn ní bàbá. Gbogbo ayé ẹ gbọ́ àwa ní bàbá o. Koiki Media àwọn ní bàbá. Ẹ máa bọ̀ wá ẹ gbé polówó ọjà yín wá o. Koiki Media àwọn ní bàbá. Odùduwà la gbé dání òtítọ́ la gbé dání. Koiki Media àwọn ní bàbá. A kì í sọ̀dálẹ̀ a kì í sọdí kẹta. Koiki Media àwọn ní bàbá. Àdúró tán a tún pèrègèdè. Koiki Media àwọn ní bàbá. Koiki Media we bring you work closer to your doorstep. Àwọn ní bàbá. Koiki Media is around.
To give us latest.
Is around o.
To give us latest.
Ladies and gentlemen,
ẹ mú kalẹ̀ sílẹ̀ ẹ tẹ́tí ẹ gbọ́ ètò tó kojú gbogbo.
Ladies and gentlemen,
ẹ mú kalẹ̀ sílẹ̀ ẹ tẹ́tí ẹ gbọ́ ètò tó kojú gbogbo.
Koiki Media is around.
To give us latest.
Koiki Media, we're bringing the world closer to your doorstep.
Granted bail, rearrested his...
Play Diablo 4.
Made the declaration during a conference in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, insisting that it was time the Yoruba became a sovereign nation. With the declaration, the activists called on Yoruba people in other territories to return home before war breaks out. He also called on all traditional rulers in Yoruba land to support the movement in order to free the Southwest from slavery. This is reoccurring. It's like every week we find a new activist calling for their own nation. I remember we talked about this, and you offered a solution, whether it is a federation or some sort, maybe. I don't know what your thoughts are on this case, but I feel like it's just, again, what we're facing in Nigeria.
Yeah, another day, another declaration. Yes. He's actually come into the limelight, as it were, quite suddenly because of his clamoring about security in the Southwest, the insecurity that we're facing here in the Southwest. And this is the solution that he has proffered. Everybody should just go their separate ways. Because at this point, if it's every man for himself, because leaders from all over the country have called on people to start to arm themselves. And scandalously, even government officials have said, you'll recall, the Minister of Defense saying that people were cowards for not attacking the bandits. So if it's every man for himself, it might as well just become every region for itself. This is the ridiculous point that we have gotten to here, because this unitary system simply is not working. We must restructure now. And we discussed this recently. You brought the story about Asari Dokubo making his own declaration about the Biafra customary government, which was dismissed, laughed out of the room, basically, by the Minister for Information and Alhaji Lai Mohammed. But if the government decides to take this approach with Sunday Adeyemo, great for him. If they decide to take the approach that they did with Omoyele Sowore, who you will recall did not even ask for any kind of a nation. He was trying to protest about the economy, security, really free education, and they slammed treason charges on him. You'll recall he was held for a year, granted bail, rearrested. His travels continue till today. We discussed recently when he went for his last court appearance with a controversially dressed gentleman by his side. So the Nigerian government will wait to see how they respond to this particular latest call. And I do hope that beyond all of this, we see the importance, the necessity at this point, right now, to restructure this country once and for all.
Well said, Tundu.
Thank you.
Well, I think this is frightening. It's an indication of the strife, the division, the problem with Nigeria. Non-state actors like Sunday Igboho, like Asari Dokubo, like Nnamdi Kanu, and so on, have become the new intellectuals of the Nigerian community. And the rhetoric that comes from many of these non-state actors is a rhetoric of division. The rhetoric of violence, it's the rhetoric of confrontation. And we need to remind those who go to the extreme point, even in asking for justice, even in asking for equity within the Nigerian arrangement, that the Constitution of Nigeria says that Nigeria shall be one indivisible entity. And it is on the basis of that that the government clamps down on anybody who talks about secession. Now, before now, if you look at the rhetoric coming from the Southwest, not too many of the groups. You have the Yoruba Elders Council, you have the Afenifere, you have the Yoruba World Congress, you have the Omo Oduduwa group. Not many of those groups, have been talking about secession of the Yorubas. The message, the ideological message has been one of restructuring from Afenifere and also one of self-determination within the Nigerian arrangement. But Igboho, in the videos that have been circulating, has been talking about secession, has been talking about the declaration of the Oduduwa, of the Republic of Oduduwa. Now, I don't know the intellectual wink that is behind that, but one or two videos that he has released or that he has been involved in recently could, in my own estimation, be considered frightening. In one video, is alleged to have said that if any politician in the Southwest decides to campaign or seek office in 2023, that the security of such persons cannot be guaranteed.
Hi there.
The second video, the one that you have shown, he says very clearly that Yorubas are tired of the Nigerian arrangement. Enough is enough. That, his group will reopen any border that is closed. And he called on Yorubas to unite. And he went further to say every Yoruba man that is in the north should return home.
Yes. Because
now it is time to confront these people. And he was talking about the Fulanis occupying major institutions in the southwest. The ports,
Yeah.
he mentioned the ports particularly, the airports, the seaports, Tin Can Island and Apapa Port. Now, in a federation, in a country like this, that could be something that could generate a lot of tension. And already a group, Arewa Youth Assembly, also issued a statement with a spokesperson of that group saying, yes, Sunday Igboho says Fulanis should leave the southwest and that Yorubas should leave the north. So that group also within the last 24 hours has said every Yoruba man should leave the north. And they are even calling on the security agencies to support them to get Yoruba people in the northern part of the country out of the place. So what is this? What it means is that Nigeria is sitting on a keg of gunpowder. Across the country, you have this rhetoric of division. And I think it's unfortunate that we have reached such a level. And that is why the government of the day must take public opinion seriously. You can't discount the agitation from all of these people. We had a 2014 National Political Conference. We have had several conferences in the past. All of that was being ignored. We have seen the urgency of dialogue.
Right.
We have seen the urgency of the need to take a second look at the Nigerian arrangement. We have seen a very serious need to look at the meaning, whether or not we have a nation and what it means to be a Nigerian.
Well said, Dr. Abati. Rufai, your take on this story.
This reminds me of Benjamin Disraeli's book, former British Prime Minister. He was also an author. The book is called Sea Bill, or Two Nations. In that book, there were two nations, the nations of those that have and those that don't have. And that is what is playing out here. There are agitations by people that the country is not working for. And the people that it is working for are looking at them and saying, what are you talking about? And it's a very sad place to be. In the space of 1 week, 2 declarations. We've got Asari Dokubo, he said this on his own part. We've got Sunday Igboho saying this now. Government should be responsive to the agitations. We should listen to people across board and try to fix whatever might be the problems, and not to appear to take sides, because it's our nation and it is one nation we have. But truth and justice and fairness makes a nation. The insecurity challenges that have brought all of this to the front burner should be addressed forthwith. Because if we don't do that, then we are sitting, I'll quote Dr. Bati now, on a keg of gunpowder mixed with dynamite. It is sad. And I'll tell you what leaders do. In the 70s, Canada too had this agitation. There were a group of people called the Front de Libération de Québec, fighting for the independence of Quebec. Where kidnappings, were harassing people and all of that. The Quebecans supported them, the Quebecois. But guess what? There was also a leader called Elliott Trudeau that stood tall and said, we must change the country. He brought about what is called the Victorian Charter that led to the Constitutional Act of 1982 in Canada, that brought about bilingualism and a lot of restructuring in the Canadian system to douse the tension. Today, Elliott Trudeau is still remembered to be the father of unity in Canada because he took a stand. Leadership should take a stand, listen to the voice of those agitating, and try to rein people in and bring unity back. It is in times of crisis you know who a true leader is. Winston Churchill was celebrated because of how he stood tall during the Second World War. This is the time for the Nigerian leadership to stand twice as tall to unite this country.
Thank you, Rufai. We're going to go on a short. Biafra de facto customary government have made the rounds. Over the weekend, Dokubo announced the formation of the Biafra government and also named those who would serve as leaders. He added that the government would proceed to set up provincial structures, but will, however, not go to war. Instead, will work towards their freedom. The federal government has described the reported formation of the Biafra customary government as a theater of the absurd by a joker seeking attention. Okay, Tunju, over to you. Now,
God.
Why do we allow this vicious cycle of irritation of one people claiming to be victims when they are really the aggressors, when they are really the people offending others? Let us allow them go. National Assembly, let us vote. Let them go so that the burden, there be more resources for other people to manage. If they want, if we don't even need a referendum, the president should meet, the National Assembly should meet, somebody courageous enough should sponsor a bill at the National Assembly. There should be a constitutional amendment. The 5 Igbo states and any group of people who want to join them, let them join the Igbos and go. It's a challenge. Let the Igbos go. No be mouth. I don't start at home. Now so me I dey start my own. Anybody who want to join them, join them. Me, my eye don't open. There is nothing I'll do with Igbo people. So all these things, releasing them, they can kill him. No. When the Igbos go, they can have him. They can manage him. They can make him their Messiah, their Savior, their everything. There is no problem. But let them go. Let the Igbos go. We have a lot to gain if we get these people, give them what they are demanding for. We have a lot to gain. Let them go. Let them go and turn their country into El Dorado, into heaven on earth. Let the Igbos go. Let them go. Please. National Assembly, President Ahmed Bola Tinubu, I am begging you, let us allow the Igbos go. We have a divine border, a divine space, the 5 states. If other people say they are Igbo people, they want to join them, oh yeah, join, let them go. Let the Igbos go. Let the Igbos go, so that we too will rest, they too will rest. Then we will see. We will see. They should be barred from coming into our country. They should stay in their country. Now you see whether any of us will go to their country. You see whether any of us go to their country. Whatever product they have, if they want to fly it, they should fly it anywhere. We allow them fly. But I know that they will not pass the Ijaw territory to pass there. We will not allow them. We will not allow them pass the Ijaw territory to go and export their destiny. So any other people who will allow them anything, who airspace they want to use, they can use. But I know at least they will pass through Calabar. Calabar occupies the widest coastal line in Nigeria. The widest coastal line in Nigeria. From Santa Barbara to New Calabar River. Let the Igbos go now. Please. If you do this,
why are we afraid of the referendum? Referendum simply means that the people buy into the document so that it does not just become plastic. It becomes animated. It carries the will of the people. It carries their imprimatur. It becomes legitimate. It becomes respected. It becomes autochthonous. It enjoys the will, respectability, and legitimacy of the people, as the American people did. In about 1788 in Philadelphia when they met.
If I may just...
Sunday Igboho,
yes,
who was also arrested,
right.
I've written severally on it, that he should also, because his determination for Oduduwa Republic is not a crime known international law.
And that's the point I'm trying to make. That's the point I'm trying to raise with you. If it were not signaled to non-state actors and other ethnic agitators that they can actually go ahead, in the event that President Muhammadu Buhari really responds to your appeal.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
You and I, we are living in Nigeria. You are talking about harmless people who are not armed. Are you not aware that in this country, some Boko Haram, some people accused of Boko Haram were released and traded for others by way of a quid pro quo. They say, okay, release some of us, then we will release some of your detained citizens. Are you not aware that that has gone on in this country? So what is the bad precedent?
So what do they expect of us now that this war is on our doorstep? Of course, there has got to be civil mobilization. And if we keep waiting for this to be centrally handled, I mean, we're all going to become, if we're not already, slaves in our own land. That for me is personally intolerable. It's not an acceptable condition. And whatever it takes, I stand ready to contribute in any way.
Saying a non-violent person should be released from detention, from illegal detention, a detention that the United Nations has been found to be illegal and to be unconstitutional and to be torturous. I do not see anything that is setting any bad precedent there in a situation where, as a matter of fact, some Boko Haram and armed bandits are being released in exchange for some of their members, where kidnappers are demanding from parents of children they have kidnapped to buy tarodo, tatache, tomatoes, vegetable oil, palm oil, uba, to buy salt, to buy rice, for them, beans, yams, for them to feed their children so as to keep them alive, to enable the parents pay ransom for them. What is the long precedent here that we are just saying, release, find a political
at Fulani herdsmen as perpetrators of the attacks, the Miyetti Allah Cattle Breeders Association in the state also claims that over 200 of its members have been killed.
We recorded dead bodies numbering 281 dead bodies in Mangu local government, and they destroy how.
Again. No going back. Igboho Òòṣà. Iṣẹ́ rẹ̀ tẹ̀síwájú. Mr. Koiki ẹ ṣé o, àwọn ọmọ mi ló kí yìí o. Àwọn ọmọ mi ló kí yìí o. Lágbára Ọlọ́run, a máa délẹ̀ lérí o lórúkọ Jésù. Yorùbá nation.
Impediment to Yoruba development. Is the impediment to Yoruba development. Without Nigeria, we won't be where we are. 1962, we were far ahead of South Korea and North Korea. We were far ahead of China even. We had television before France. We had radio before South Africa. Now look at where we are today. I think it's a shame that even any Yoruba man can be talking about restructuring at this point in time. What are we restructuring? This country that is already shot to pieces? I don't think that's what we want. But they are always talking about giving Nigeria a chance. The patience of Yoruba with Nigeria has come to an end.
If you don't allow we Biafrans to go, that zoological republic called Nigeria will be a worse place than Somalia. And today it is happening. And if you have not applied for your Somalian visa, please try and do so. Should I say Somali visa? Try and do so as quickly as possible, because the zoo is on the path of destruction, and there is nothing man can do to reverse it. Mark today's date and what I'm telling you. Nigeria will be destroyed beyond human comprehension.
And a very good afternoon, and welcome to the Sunday broadcast as we kickstart again the end of the week or the beginning of the week, depending on what calendar TN look. You all know my name, but it's always good to put the name just for the future record, so that in 200 years from now, when every one of us are dead, we are gone, and some people are reviewing back some of what we've done for them, then they can be able to know that this particular person sitting is called Olayomi Koiki. Everybody knows me as Koiki Media, one out of the so many Yoruba people that wants the sovereignty of the Yoruba land back. Just like the Scottish also believe that it is their inalienable right that the Yoruba people will get what belongs to them. Maybe we should start with this again.
Other countries were refused at first, but we have to remember, and this is a really important point, that self-determination is an inalienable international right and a law as well. And other countries will recognise Scotland's democratic choice expressed at the ballot box. They will recognise that, because that is the route that many other countries have taken in order to become independent. And just to make that point, that international law is very pragmatic on that point. So we should...
International law are very, very pragmatic. So when we are saying that we want our sovereignty, it is not secessionist, as Abati was saying. I believe Abati is a well-read individual. He's very, very intelligent, but he decided to use the word secessionist. Mo kí gbogbo wa níbikíbi tí a bá wà, mo fi ti Elédùmarè, mo fi kí wa, mo kí ọmọdé, mo kí àgbàlagbà. I'm not going to start mentioning the names because I want to go straight into the conversation because we're dealing with something of what we call a reminder. I will greet you properly towards the end of the program, but let me omit by only appreciating my mother, my wives, my children, but most importantly, the father of the day, the oracle, and that is Professor BRGIE Akintoye. There's no way we could have done this if he has not woken the spirit in us. Gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá ló ní nǹkan tó wà nínú ẹ̀, but because we did not know that the roots of trying to rectify and work with the political terrain in Nigeria was not going to make us survive. But Professor BRGIE Akintoye, the oracle himself, woke us up, told us categorically that it is time that the Yoruba people come back home so that Kale move away from what is called Nigeria. And all that happened in the space of less than 3 years. The video that we are going to remind you again that we played from the Arise was 2 years ago. The way it was put together is so clearing. Even nígbà tí a ṣe video yẹn ní March 2021, Arise went ahead and publicized it as Yoruba Nation has been declared by Dr. Chief Sunday Igboho. That was televised. But at the end of the day, that is the reason why we have told you that it is only Professor BRGIE Akintoye, Chief BRGIE Ayiloge, and all the other organizations that are working with them. But one man is the key. Ọkùnrin kan péré ló ní kọ́kọ́rọ́ Yorùbá Nation lọ́wọ́. Nígbà tí wọ́n máa sọ lórí Arise Television, the video I played earlier, a máa tún play video yẹn padà. We were categorically told that Igboho declare Yoruba Nation. And I remember that video vividly well. But let me say this, as many of Yoruba people probably never even saw the video before. That is the reason why we are telling you, and we kept saying that Igboho gangan ló ní kọ́kọ́rọ́ Yoruba Nation lọ́wọ́. Some have accused him of not being enough educated like people like Abati. I don't have to add doctor to him because as far as I'm concerned, that doctor is as rubbish to someone like Abati that is trying to portray Igboho as a secessionist. There is difference between the word secessionist and self-determination. Inti Olóyè Dr. Sunday Igboho gbé dání lábẹ́ àṣẹ bàbá wa alànà Professor BRGIE Akintoye, lábẹ́ bàbá wa BRGIE Ayiloge, and all the fathers tí Igboho tẹríba fún, táwa náà gbà fún dáadáa. Òun ni pé àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá fẹ́ sovereignty wọn padà. That is got nothing to do with secessionists. But last year March, after the 90 days force majeure, I was on the ground. There was a press outcome of that. And by the time the headline was coming back around the world, the headline stated clearly that Igboho declare Yoruba Nation. That was in 2021. So, number one, the first thing I want us to remember, this communication today will be between Yoruba and English because I will be addressing our brother, the Prime Minister, government in exile, Simon Ekpa, and most Yoruba people that I believe maybe your understanding of why the Biafra are saying that there will be a sit down at home in Lagos that I have no problem with. Simon Ekpa is not addressing the Yoruba people in Lagos. He is addressing the Biafra, and the Biafra have the right to listen to him. You don't have the right to tell Simon Ekpa how to instruct their citizen inside what is known as Lagos State. Number one, as Nigerians as we are presently, because the country has not yet divided, that literally means that the Igbos have the right to live in Lagos and work as they've been doing for the last decades. And if they would listen to the government in exile, probably not every single one of them anyway, but the majority that will be listening to Simon Ekpa have the right to take that instruction of a seat at home in Lagos State. If you are a Yoruba and you are upset about that, there is nothing we can do to that. Simon Ekpa is not addressing the sit at home to Yoruba people. Maybe Kinsole the Yoruba, BRGIE dáadáa. Àwa kọ́ ni Simon Ekpa ń bá sọ̀rọ̀. Àwọn èèyàn tiẹ̀ ló ń bá sọ̀rọ̀ nílùú Èkó. Ó lè bá wọn sọ̀rọ̀ l'Ogun State. I, Olayomi Koiki of Koiki Media, I don't have any problem or issue with that. Tẹ́yin ọmọ Yorùbá bá ń bínú sí yẹn, kí nìkan tó ní ṣe pẹ̀lú yín? Ṣé ẹ̀yin ló ń bá sọ̀rọ̀ ni? Ṣé ẹ̀yin ló ń address? Ṣé bí ṣe ń address àwọn èèyàn nísìn? Ṣé mo address àwọn ọmọ Biafra? Ṣé mo address Hausa? Ṣé mo address the remaining 250 ethnic groups? My address to a sovereign nation is to the Yoruba people. And àwọn Yorùbá kan dẹ̀ sọ pé àwọn ò gbà. And that doesn't mean that we are enemies. So kí ló wá ń fa gbogbo hype tí gbogbo yín tẹ́ fẹ́ para yín lórí pé Simon Ekpa declare sit at home ní Lagos State? Ṣé ó sọ fáwọn ìyá lọ́jà tèmi pé kó máa lọ sọ́jà ni? Kò sọ fáwọn parents wa, àwọn màmá wa, àwọn bàbá wa pé kẹ́ má jáde nínú ilé. So why then are you all hyper? I have told you, whether we like it or not, Nigeria must respect the sovereignty of everyone. So if we don't respect that, then why are you all angry? Simon Ekpa. Well, that is your own cup of tea. If you object to that, you don't have any right to tell anyone because we are still Nigerians. You cannot sit and say Simon Ekpa cannot give any order to people in Lagos State. Who the hell are you all to say that Simon Ekpa cannot give the order? Not even Gani Adams have the right to say so. Gani Adams should go and deal with our Fulani tó ń pa wá ní Ìlọrin tí wọ́n sọ fún wa pé a lè ṣiṣẹ́ ṣe. He did not respond to that. I didn't see Gani Adams just to give him the courtesy to respond to all these bastard Fulani Yorubas that are telling us that we cannot do Ìṣẹ̀ṣe in Ìlọrin. Why then must you respond to Simon Ekpa? Ṣé Simon Ekpa sọ fún àwọn Yorùbá pé kó jókòó sílé ni? He's not addressing us. He's addressing the Biafra. So if you're hype up with that, Elo Jabo sínú omi, that's all I can say to you. Let's come back to Igboho issue. Your iPad. So the issue that I'm discussing today is 2021. It's just a reminder, just to remind every single one of you that we cannot say that Igboho did not perform anything. Igboho performed wonders. His wonders led to even Arise Television to cover an event that we did not pay for. Arise. I remember so many media that were there. They had questions. Igboho answered them. But by the next morning, this is how Arise put it out again, that the Yoruba Nation activist, Dr. Chief Sunday Adeyemo Igboho, declared a Yoruba Nation. And when we now look it back, we can say categorically that ẹni tó wá náà ń declare Yoruba Nation ní sè. She has not even done to the percentage of what Igboho has done in his own life. And this is why we are saying, Fẹ́yànmọ́ Yorùbá, pé let's get this fact very well. Igboho is an activist. He is not a secessionist as Abati was trying to portray. And let me quickly put this again before I go into that. If you look at the last tweet that I picked up from the Prime Minister of the government in exile of the Biafra, let's read it again. This was today at exactly 5:24 a.m. Simon Ekpa responding to Gani Adams on his article that says that Southwest, not Biafra. Gani Adams wants Ekpa against sit at home in Lagos. I don't know what is his own problem with that. That shouldn't be his own problem. His problem should be how to help us to deal with the Fulani that are killing and kidnapping us. We expect our Gani Adams to help us flush them out. That is his job, not to tell and give directive that Simon Ekpa, they cannot have a sit at home in Lagos. Simon Ekpa stated it clearly again bóyá òyìnbó tí Simon Ekpa fi sọ̀rọ̀ ni kò yé ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ọmọ Yorùbá, and I'm not addressing this alone to Iba Gani Adams. I'm addressing this to all the Yorubas that are concerned. Simon Ekpa had to come out again and stated clearly, if you look at it here, it reads like this: BRGIE, which is the Biafra government in exile, update on the southwest. Ibolanpe in the southwest, ilẹ̀ Yorùbá, not Biafra, but ẹ ti gbàgbé pé millions of Biafrans live in the southwest. So some of you seem not to understand what Simon Ekpa is trying to pass the message. At the moment, we are Nigerians. We are under this body called Nigeria, and there are so many Igbos that are living in the southwest. So he's directing his order. Let me read as he said, Kima mix it up. This is what Simon Ekpa said. BRGIE update. Southwest, not Biafra. But millions of Biafrans live in southwest with a full stop. Our order is only applicable to Biafrans and not to the Yoruba people. Maybe I should read that again. Our order is only applicable to Biafrans, not to the Yoruba people. Bí a kì í tún kálẹ̀ nǹkan sí, ó ń sọ pé òfin táwọn fẹ́ gbé síta yìí kò ní kankan ṣe pẹ̀lú ọmọ Yorùbá kankan nílẹ̀ Yorùbá rárá. Àwọn tó ń bá sọ̀rọ̀ nìkan làwọn ọmọ Biafra tó ń gbé ní southwest lẹ́kọ̀ọ́ pé kó má jáde. So tó bá wá ti ṣọ́ọ̀pù wọn, ṣẹ́yìn lẹ́ni ṣọ́ọ̀pù wọn ni. Ṣé ẹ fẹ́ fọ́ọ̀sì wọn lọ sí ṣọ́ọ̀pù ní Ìdúmọ̀tà tó bá náà wọ́n jáde? Ṣé ẹ fẹ́ fọ́ọ̀sì wọn lọ sí ṣọ́ọ̀pù ní Sùúrùlérè tó bá náà wọ́n jáde? Ṣé ẹ fẹ́ fọ́ọ̀sì wọn lọ sí ṣọ́ọ̀pù ní Agége tó bá náà wọ́n jáde? Èyí tó bá máa jáde nínú wọn kúkú jáde. Kò kúkú ń ṣe gbogbo wọn náà lọ believe in Simon Ekpa. So kí wá ló kan wàhálà tiwa pẹ̀lú tí Simon Ekpa ń sọ? Wàhálà tó wà níwájú wa ó ju tìyẹn lọ. Let's deal with that wahala and stop being hypocrite Yoruba people. The sit at home is in Lagos. It's a done deal. That is as it is. Now let's come back to this Igboho with this issue. Now let me look at the headline. Tabani Kate justified pé Igboho ti declare Yoruba nation. Àwọn Arise News put it out there 2 years ago. Sunday Igboho declares Yoruba nation. So Tabani a fẹ́ ṣe declaration. That means pé a ti ṣe declaration ní 2 years ago. But nítorí pé àwa ṣì ń lọ ní in accordance with the international law, in accordance with the process of Alano, which is 35-page manual script that told us that this is how we are going to get our own nation. But Arise News decided to use whatever headline that they're going to use. And the headline 2 years ago stated that Sunday Igboho declares Yoruba nation. So that automatically ó ti fi ẹ̀ǹtẹ̀ sí pé Igboho was on the ground, Igboho spoke, and the speaking of Igboho then led to a news media in Nigeria that is very popular among all the network in Nigeria today. Kò sí bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣe fẹ́ sọ̀rọ̀ tí ẹ̀ ní mú Arise in terms of the mainstream media. And for them to have stated this 2 years ago, even though àwa mọ̀ pé àìtí declare Yorùbá nation tán délẹ̀, nítorí pé tá a bá jẹ́ pé a declare Yorùbá nation bí Dr. Sunday Igboho ṣe fi àwọn òǹtẹ̀ sílẹ̀ níjọ́ yẹn, so many things would have happened. He said a lot of things, but one thing is we still kept to the international profile, the international law of asking for the sovereignty. Maybe we should play this video again as a reminder for those of you that probably knew about this video 2 years ago. Arise Television stated it clearly that Igboho declare Yoruba nation. Ẹ jẹ́ á farabalẹ̀ ká gbọ́. And don't get this twisted. Nítorí pé a ti mọ̀ pé ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ẹ̀yin tí ẹ ti bọ́lẹ̀ kúrò ní ẹ̀yìn bàbá Akíntóyè nítorí pé wọ́n ti parọ́ fún yín. Ẹni tó parọ́ fún yín gan kò ṣe tó ohun tí Igboho ṣe báyìí kó tó di pé Arise Television gbé jáde pé yes, Igboho declare Yoruba nation. And this is why we are saying to our people that Igboho is still alive today. And ní àláìfẹ́, he was there on the ground physically. He spoke. He's had so much conversation prior to that day. I was behind him. You'll probably listen to it again.
I know. Well, let's
Let's begin what's trending today in Nigeria.
Ekpa, what is trending in Nigeria 2 years ago was Igboho. Igboho was part of what is trending, and that led to a news media. We never paid them to come down there. We didn't give them 1 naira, but they thought that it is important for them to come and listen to the outcome of the 90 days force majeure that has been in place prior to today of that same day 2 years ago. Tẹ́ bá jẹ́ pé ẹ tẹ́ gbọ́ lè rí rárá, ẹ̀yin ọmọ Yorùbá, maybe because after we pull out this video again, and I should say thank you so much to our brother Amotekun. Amotekun is working. Everyone is doing different jobs internally, externally, behind the scene. He spoke to me, and there are some few things we spoke that is not for public consumption. But he reminded me that should we not say that Igboho tẹ declare Yoruba nation? Kate sọ pé kò declare, but evidence pointed that Arise Television that we are going to listen to and that owns the copyright of this particular video told us that Igboho declare Yoruba nation. Kò ń ṣe lórí social media ni Igboho ti declare Yoruba nation. Kò ń ṣe nínú ilé ẹ̀ ni Igboho ti declare Yoruba nation. Kò ń ṣe lórí voice note ni Igboho ti declare Yoruba nation. Kò ń ṣe nínú YouTube. Igboho was having a sit-down press conference pẹ̀lú Aláròyé, BBC Yoruba, BBC Pidgin. Even Arise sent their representative and they captured that and they put it as part of what was trending in Nigeria. Let's listen to it again.
Yoruba activist Sunday Igboho, in a now viral video, declared a Yoruba nation. He made the declaration during a...
Did you hear that? Sunday Igboho, an activist, declare a Yoruba nation. So by the time that we are really prepared to make full declaration at the appropriate time, we will not be hiding away under the table. We will not be hiding inside our bedroom. Àní máa fi declaration ṣe voice note. Àní máa declare táwọn èèyàn ní rójú wa. Àní declare débi pé mi ò ní sí on ground. Ọláyọmí Kóìkì. Tá bá ti gba heads up pé a máa make it full declaration at the appropriate time, which nobody knows. We leave that to as the time is going to happen. I would travel down myself. I will be in Nigeria, and that declaration would happen. But Arise News decided that maybe for their own headlines, maybe for their own interest, we don't know what was behind it. We never told them to put this headline. And when you decide pé this is going to be the way we are going to put the headline out. And that headline went further. You can see it boldly. Sunday Igboho declares Yoruba nation. So yẹn la ṣe ń sọ fún yín tí a ti ń bá sọ̀rọ̀ in the last 2 years kó tó di pé Dagboru dé. Kó tó di pé ìyẹn foolish woman yẹn dé tó wá phantom irọ́ mọ́ in tóun gbé dání tí a dẹ̀ ń sọ fún yín pé it is not done like that. You don't declare a country and then you run away. You declare the country and you hold it down. You declare the country and you project as many of your outcome. And even this, Igboho fẹ́ ṣe yìí, it is still under his right. Because in tó sọ níjọ́ yẹn kò tí pọ̀ fún ẹni tó fẹ́ sọ nítorí pé òfin àgbáyé jẹ́ kó yé wa pé Igboho was doing exactly what the international community wanted him to do. And maybe you forgot about that. Maybe I should just remind us that prior to this happened before them.
The Yoruba-speaking tribe of Nigeria has been accepted as the 45th member of the Unrepresented Nations and Peoples Organization. Leader of the Yoruba World Congress, Professor BRGIE Akintoye, says the membership represents a very important step in the collective quest of well-meaning Yoruba people to achieve the goal of dignity and self-determination.
It is my great pleasure and pride to inform you that the Yoruba nation has been admitted to the membership of UNPO. UNPO means Unrepresented Nations and Peoples Organization, with its headquarters in The Hague. The UNPO expressed their gladness to welcome the Yoruba nation as a new member of UNPO.
You heard that clearly. Baba Akintoye started by taking that Yoruba nation to UNPO, Unrepresented People and Organization. Even Bashen Soro Titi di Wakati is 45 members. That means up to today, Azerbaijan has also entered. Scotland, bó ṣe jẹ́ Scotland, àwọn náà wà nínú UNPO. So being part of the UNPO gave Igboho the leverage to sit down with Baba Akintoye and sit down as at that time with the projection with the Tony Nandi. There was nothing wrong to try as many things in terms of finding a solution to the dissolution of Nigeria. But unfortunately, things might not have worked again with us with Minas, but the question was that the Arise television projected it as at that time as Igboho declared Yoruba nation. I'm going to come back to that. Let's finish listening to Baba Akintoye and then we'll come back to analysis of the 2 years ago video that we have now decided to remind Yoruba people where we have started, where we were heading, kó tó di pé Dúpẹ́ Onídọ̀tí Onítìrí tó ń pèrè ní Aya Bíọ́lá Dagboru woman 2x2 woman tí kò ní iota of truth tó náà ti kọ lẹ́tà sí gbogbo àgbáyé. Even Arise television mo tẹ̀ rò pé Túndùn mọ̀ pé ìyá kan wà tó ń pè ní Dúpẹ́ Abíọ́lá rárá lára àwọn ìyàwó MKO Abíọ́lá.
And they are looking forward to working with us.
They are looking forward to working with us. And as we speak today, they are still working with us. And this is why we are saying to as many Yoruba people out there, remain patient. Ojú ló ń kán ìbòjí, òun ń bọ̀ níbẹ̀. We might want to leave we might want to leave Nigeria into a Yoruba nation today, but the process will not be hidden. The process will not be something tá a máa sọ pé a ti gba country without evidence base. Ní máa sọ pé a ti declare Yoruba nation without the fact in there. And this is the difference between àwọn leaders wa lábẹ́ bàbá wa Alana Oracle Professor Adébánjí Akíntóyè, lábẹ́ bàbá wa Chief Banji Ayilóge, lábẹ́ ẹgbẹ́ tí wọ́n ń pè ní YSDM tí wọ́n ń ṣiṣẹ́ back to back plus all other groups including even the Yoruba One Boy tí bàbá wa Ìbà Gani Adams tó àwọn lọ ní platform yẹn, which I believe that they should work more towards Yoruba nation and leave Simon Ekpa to tell his people to sit at home. Because definitely Simon Ekpa is not the one that is projecting the weapon tẹ́ ẹ̀ rí ní Southeast. The same way bó ṣe infiltrate wa náà lọ infiltrate àwọn náà. So tẹ́ bá rí tán náà kó pọ̀ síta ní Southeast. Wọ́n ti ní ESN is only dealing with the terrorists in the forest. Kí Ìbà Gani Adams náà sọ fáwọn tó máa kówó fún wọn, kó ra ìbọn fáwọn ọmọ OPC, kó bá wa train wọn, kó wọnú igbó, kó bá wa flush àwọn Fúlàní tó ń pa wá. Iṣẹ́ tí ESN ń ṣe nìyẹn. ESN kan ló wá sójú títì wá pọ̀ mọ́ òlu. Àwọn Ifáyùnbá ló ń ṣiṣẹ́ yẹn. But nítorí tẹ́ bá ti gbọ́ pé wọ́n ti pààyàn ní Southeast, you all think that it is the Biafra. It's the same way bí Dúpẹ́ náà ṣe infiltrate wa náà nìyẹn. So tá a bá ń sọ fún yín pé ẹ má máa gbọ́ gbogbo ohun tí NTA ń sọ fún yín àtàwọn bloggers in Nigeria, they are changing the narratives. The narrative is that they want to portray the Igbos as terrorists, which they've done. Ìyẹn ni wọ́n ṣe pè wọ́n ní subscriber ìyẹn lọ́ṣe fún wọn ní pé wọ́n ti pin wọn mọ́lẹ̀ as a terrorist organization. It's because àwọn kan ló penetrate. This is exactly what Dúpẹ́ wants to do. Mo kí ìjáyà. Dúpẹ́ Onídọ̀tí 2x2 òun ló fẹ́ jẹ́ kí wọ́n fi àwa náà sí that same category bí àwọn Biafra. Tó bá dẹ̀ ti fi wá síbẹ̀, somebody like me will be very difficult to work with Yoruba nation because UK does not like anything to do with terrorism. Number one, wọ́n máa monitor gbogbo account tẹ́ fi ń fún wa ní change kékèké tẹ́ ń fún wa, ìyẹn number one. Number two, I will become a surveillance. Wọ́n máa show mi eléyìí tí mo ń ṣe nísìn. It is allowed under international law tí bàbá mi dáadáa ti fi ní lọ́kàn balẹ̀ pé Yorùbá nation tó gbé dání Kóìkì àwọn ti gbé ẹ lọ sọ́dọ̀ UNPO. Má ṣe pé o fẹ́ gbébọn jáde, ìyẹn kọ́ là ń sọ. Báwọn ọmọ Yorùbá sọ̀rọ̀ pé a fẹ́ gba òmìnira lẹ̀ Yorùbá, a fẹ́ sovereignty wa, and that is exactly what we have been doing in the last 3 years. And we appreciate everyone that are still up to date. Listen, Dúpẹ́ fẹ́ ṣe divide and rule. Ntí Ìgbòho ti ṣe kalẹ̀, ntí Bàbá Akíntóyè ti ṣe kalẹ̀, òun lòun fi wá tẹ̀bálé lórí, ó tún wá fẹ́ bàjẹ́. And we got that quickly. We knew quickly, but àwọn ignorant bíi Ìjìnlẹ̀ Maggot, àwọn Wálé Àlí gan mo rò pé Arise television lè gbé nǹkan tó ń sọ, at least Ìgbòho sọ̀rọ̀ Arise gbé. gbogbo ọjọ́ tí Dúpẹ́ ti ń sọ̀rọ̀ kò sọ̀rọ̀ ju more than less than 8,000 subscribers tó wà lórí Ìjìnlẹ̀ Marcus kò sọ̀rọ̀ lábẹ́ ṣó ẹ kó rí bẹ́ẹ̀ gbogbo subscriber ṣó ẹ kó rí bẹ́ẹ̀ kò tó 3,000 kódà ìyẹn tún sọ̀rọ̀ pé Dúpẹ́ ti bà gbogbo platform òun jẹ́ but ǹjẹ́ mọ̀ pé ọ̀rọ̀ tí Ìgbòho sọ ní 2 years ago the video is still going and let me tell you ó ti ní more than 61,000 people tó ti wò and ó dẹ̀ wà lórí ó sì wà lórí timeline ní àwọn Arise fúnra wọn they have more than let's look at Arise have 642,000 subscribers so that means pé gbogbo subscriber wọn ló ní àǹfààní láti rí notification yìí whether they now watch it or not is a different thing but let me clarify this again Igboho did not run away because he wanted to run away nítorí pé wọ́n fi wá pa sínú ilé ló ṣe fi ilé sílẹ̀ so let's not mix things together kò ń ṣe pé ohun Ìgbòho láti kúrò nínú Nàìjíríà nígbà tó di pé wọ́n fi wá pa sínú ilé àwọn Yorùbá dẹ̀ ló ní mọ̀jàmọ̀sá la fi máa kíkanjú ọkùnrin lákọ̀ọ́kọ́ tó bá kó ọlọ́pàá 10 wá bá wọn nínú ilé ìwọ lè survive ẹ̀ ìwọ try láti survive ẹ̀ tó bá jẹ́ pé ọlọ́pàá 10 ká má tí wàá sọ pé more than 500 intelligent machinery and different security came into his house nínú ẹ̀ náà lọ pa èèyàn méjì sí lọ́rùn but before then I was in Nigeria èmi ni mo dúró sẹ́yìn Ìgbòho pẹ̀lú bàbá wa Akíntóyè and we stated it clearly after that 90 days but this is how Arise Television projected it after wọ́n ní Sunday Igboho declare Yoruba nation let's listen to it a little bit more further.
In a conference in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, insisting that it was time the Yoruba became a sovereign nation.
Did you hear that? The Oyo-based activist stated clearly that it was time for the Yoruba people to have their own sovereign nation. There's nothing wrong in that. Ìyẹn mi pé à ń bá government ìjà. Ìyẹn mi pé àkọlù government. It is ọ̀rọ̀ sọ̀rọ̀ ni. Government ló máa wá jókòó pókè ìtàn sọ yìí should make sense. How do we talk about it? And if anybody doesn't believe that Igboho fighting for the right cause, maybe we should remind you again that there is a lot of evidence that point to pé ntí Igboho nítorí ẹ̀ sọ̀rọ̀ lé lórí ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àwọn tó jẹ́ ọ̀jọ̀gbọ́n àwọn tó ní làákàyè àwọn náà ti sọ̀rọ̀ lé lórí wọ́n dẹ̀ sọ débi pé nǹkan kan right nǹkan kan ò tó dáadáa and maybe just maybe we should just one more time get to know that Igboho so has been said multiple times. We have played it before, but it is important that Igboho was not doing anything different from what those individuals have said before. And the reason why Igboho left Nigeria is not because it's his wish. And that is why Igboho wá bẹ̀ Bọ́lá Ahmed Tinubu no wọ́n gbọ́dọ̀ lift the ban tó wà lórí ẹ̀ so that kó lè lọ bá àwọn ọmọ ẹ̀ ní Germany kó lè lọ bá àwọn ọmọ ẹ̀ ní Canada and he can travel around the world without looking at his back because we were told by as many important people prior to Igboho coming out or even after it came out that the unity of this country called Nigeria doesn't seem to be what we were told and àwọn tó fẹ́ unity yẹn is nothing more than the fact that they have a different agenda. They have a different reasons. And those reasons is not working with Igboho. Those reasons is not working with Baba Akintoye. Those reasons is not working with gbogbo àwa tí a fẹ́ Yoruba nation. But let me state it clearly that the country called Nigeria has first and foremost hold us back. Let's start with this video and then we go further again.
Impediment to Yoruba development is the impediment to Yoruba development. Without Nigeria, we won't be where we are. 1962, we were far ahead of South Korea and North Korea. We were far ahead of China even. We had television before France. We had radio before South Africa. Now look at where we are today. I think it's a shame that even any Yoruba man can be talking about restructuring at this point in time. What are we restructuring? This country that is already shot to pieces? I don't think that's what we want. But they are always talking about giving Nigeria a chance. The patience of Yoruba with Nigeria has come to an end.
Let's come back again. I say good evening, good afternoon, good morning, níbikíbi tí ẹ ti ń gbọ́ wa. A kò tún ṣe àlàyé lẹ́kùnrẹ́rẹ́ lórí fídíò tí ó jáde ní 2 years ago after the Nina's declaration. Let's go into that video one more time.
With the declaration, the activists called on Yoruba people in other territories to return home before war breaks out.
Igboho sọ pé before kógun má lọ dé nítorí pé evidence pointed that we have been killed continuously. Maybe I should remind you that that killing is still going on even after Tinubu to be president, because this shows from the video that I played earlier, and let me play that video one more time.
Mayhem unleashed on some communities of Mango.
Mayhem has been unleashed on a community. More than 700 people have died in Plateau State. This is why Igboho was worried and concerned for the Yoruba people that are outside that the longer the back person, most of you will be killed. Come back home before ogun tí ẹ̀ ń sá fún tó má bàa wá. Kò dẹ̀ ń ṣe Igboho nìkan ló ń pariwo pé ogun ń bọ̀ Nàìjíríà. We had a credible evidence that was also in date and time, that was also well stated across Nigerian media. Let's first listen to this man, because he told us that in time Safun tí Igboho ń pariwo pé kẹ́ máa fi bọ̀ ń lé níjọ́ náà lọ́hùn, ó sì ń ṣẹlẹ̀. Even though arákùnrin wọ́n ti pa, ó ti dẹni ègbélé ní, but a ṣì rántí ẹni náà nítorí pé in tó sọ fún wa níjọ́ náà lọ́hùn, òun ló jẹ́ kí àwa tètè súnkì, kára wa tètè yá. Èmi fi pé ìyẹn ló yẹ kí bàbá wa Ìbà Gani Adams máa ṣiṣẹ́ lé lórí, so that gbogbo àwọn tó fẹ́ pa wá yẹn, ìyẹn ló yẹ kó máa ṣiṣẹ́. Èyí tí wọ́n sọ pé àwọn ọmọ Biafra wọ́n gbọ́dọ̀ ṣe síta tó ń lẹ́kọ̀ọ́. Nnamdi Kanu or Simon Ekpa rather have stated it. Àwa kọ́ ló ń bá sọ̀rọ̀. Kò ní káwa máa lọ sí lọ́tajà wa. Kò lè náà fẹ́ stop transportation. Kò lè náà fẹ́ ground in Lagos State. But wọ́n ní right láti sọ fún àwọn èèyàn wọn pé ẹ jókòó sílé. Tó bá dẹ̀ jókòó sílé, ẹ lọ mú wọn jáde nígbà yẹn. Kẹ́ fokùn sí wọn lọ́rùn. Ẹ ní kó wá tajà fún yín. Let's listen to this man, because in tó sọ fún wa ni pé tí a bá ṣọ́ra, ìkọ̀kan máa pa gbogbo wa.
Which is it for you, Dr. Obadiah? Do you think the government is unwilling or unable to protect the people of Southern Kaduna?
In fact, it is not only unable, it is unwilling, and we have good reason to feel that they are part and parcel of the killers. Let me make some revelations to you.
That's a very big allegation, Dr. Obadiah. The government is part and parcel of the killers.
Yes.
That's big.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. How would the government just say, oh, it is revenge killing and so on? Then you leave it there. Oh, because it is revenge killing and so on and so forth. The body language of this administration, the body language of the state government shows clearly that they have a hand in the killings. No doubt about it. Because, you see, General Abacha, and people don't give him his due. Do you think you would have tolerated such nonsense? And let me make some revelations, because some of us also have our own intelligence networks.
Okay.
Have met with some of the bandits. We have met with some of their high commanders. 1 or 2 who have repented. They have sat down with us, not once, not twice. They told us that one of the northern governors is the commander of Boko Haram in Nigeria. Boko Haram and the bandits are one and the same thing. They have a sophisticated network. During this lockdown, their planes were moving up and down as though there was no lockdown. Moving ammunitions, moving logistics, moving money, and distributing them in different parts of the country. They're already in the south, in the rainforest of the south. They're everywhere. They told us that when they finish these rural killings, they will move to phase 2. The phase 2 is they will go into the urban cities, going from house to house, killing prominent people. I can tell you, this is the game plan. By 2022, they want to start a civil war in Nigeria. How we've been having...
Let's before he start thinking, let me bring in my camera, because I realize that my video is not in the conversation. My name is Olami Koike. It is our Sunday transmission from London as we continue to educate and enlighten and give reasons that the sovereignty of the Yoruba people can no longer be negotiated. It is a done deal. It must happen in our lifetime. And whether the government likes it or not, they must discuss with the nations of those that wants to exit Nigeria so that there will not be any need for bloodshed to happen in Nigeria. And if those that still think that the only way that they can have any kind of dialogue presently, in Nigeria is through what they call a civil disobedience. Nobody has any right to stop such a civil disobedience. If the Biafra believe that having a civil disobedience by sitting at home is part of the way they can easily tell the government of the day whether in Lagos State, if Lagos is going to lose some revenue, then negotiate with the Biafra and let them go. And that would then have to mean that if they then want to come and live in the Southwest, we would then have to pay heavy taxes for them living what is known as Southwest. But for now, as they have the right under the fraudulent military diktat 1999 constitution, no one can dictate how their government in exile gives directives to those on the ground. Iba Gani Adams should help us deal and flush all the Fulani terrorists that are creating havoc and killing as many of us, just as Igboho was doing prior before Igboho was pushed out of the Southwest into a foreign land called Benin Republic. So we're going to come back to that. I want us to go back to this video again and listen. I was trying to find, the understanding that Intima, Lafia, and Sofua, these 700 people that have died. Let me tell you, this is not 2 years ago. As at 2 years, we thought Igboho was still shouting that there's no evidence. Let's even agree that as at the time, Igboho sọ pé ẹ̀yin ọmọ Yorùbá ẹ máa padà bọ̀ nílé. Do you know how many Yoruba people have been killed in Plateau State? When Igboho was telling them to come back home, they probably thought Igboho was joking. Because as at the time Igboho was telling them that, I will come back to Jonathan, let me remove that because when I needed that, I couldn't find it quickly. So I had to, prepare another video. So as at the time that Igboho was telling them, come back home, even if it's two of you, we value your lives in the Southwest. We can protect you in the Southwest through our own Amotekun and the governors and whatever. But at the end of the day, some of them refuse to leave Plateau State, but they are now facing the burden of being massacred on a daily basis. This video, Emikomo posted, this is copyright to Channels Television on their Instagram handle that posted 4 hours ago. Emikomo Kukuko, but somebody have been warning everybody, you should go and arm yourself. Igboho kọ́ ló sọ o. Igboho kọ́ ló ní káwọn èèyàn kó bọn síta kó lọ máa defend ara wọn. It was one person that is also within the Nigerian elite. He was also known very well because he was also a former chief of defense staff. He stated that there's ethnic cleansing coming in Nigeria. This is why Igboho voiced out. This is why Baba Akintoye said, let's pull out. But yet, Abati is putting Igboho as a secessionist. I don't know what Abati is going to call people that are killing people in Plateau State. Emi ò mọ̀ kíni Abati máa pè wọ́n, whether they are terrorists. Oh, I remember that Abati could not open his mouth because ó ti fẹnu ẹ̀, ó ti fi jẹ irọ́. He has called them bandits. Even Nnamdi Kanu could not understand why the Yoruba media refused to call terrorists a terrorist. But it is easy for Abati to call Igboho a secessionist. It is easy for Abati to call Mazi Nnamdi Kanu a secessionist. It is easy for Abati, I'm not going to call him doctor because I don't think it's worth calling him a doctor. It is easy for Abati láti fẹnu ẹ̀ pé the government in exile of the Prime Minister of Biafra, Mazi Simon Ekpa, a secessionist. There is difference between the word secessionist. There is self-determination and there is a secessionist. Abati knows that very well, but he is scared to call terrorists a terrorist. But he is ready to call us a secessionist. So you can see the narratives that the media at home are playing to the minds of people in Nigeria. Because when people hear that they want to break Nigeria, no, we are not breaking Nigeria. We are only asking for our right. But as you are being killed on a daily basis, Plateau State, this man told you 5 years ago, but people in Nigeria, they don't listen because you put everything in the hands of God. And I pray that God will save you before you become the next victim.
Every one of us must rise up. The armed forces are not neutral. They collude. They collude. They collude with the armed bandits. They kill people.
They kill people, but they are still killing people. 5 years ago, ni video, yes, you're right, Comrade Segun Ono, what the Biafrans are doing is called civil disobedience. They are not armed. They have their own security outfit called the ESN, but they are there dealing with the criminal terrorists that Iba Gani Adams should have helped us to deal with in the Southwest. But I understand Iba Gani Adams probably doesn't have the fire weapon. But maybe now that there is a Yoruba president, but not a Yoruba president in Yoruba land, but a Yoruba president, because Tinubu is a Yoruba president. Because I know that he has been driving things towards Southwest. Even Kano State is already upset that you cannot give more budget to Lagos State with the 500 billion naira that you want to share 80,000 naira. So Iba Gani Adams should find a way to speak with Tinubu so that they can allow the OPC to have firepower and move into the forest and help us deal with the criminal terrorists. Because it seems that Amotekun, they are sleeping. That should be his job. Not the job of them asking Biafra that are doing civil disobedience, don't come to Lagos State. Nothing of such is going to happen. The Biafra goes ahead. I don't know what day they're going to lock down in Lagos State. They are not locking our market. They don't have the right. Simon Ekpa doesn't have the right to say Etio should the market. Kò ń ṣe nínú market ni ìyálọ́jà àti ọjà mọ́yìn. Oh, so nígbà tí ìyálọ́jà àti ọjà tí gbogbo ṣuyín àti vegetable àti tomato tó ń bàjẹ́, none of you came out to say anything. Mo rò pé Ìbà Gani Adams jáde nígbà tí ìyálọ́jà ti Lagos State market tó ti Mushin market. Kí ló dé tẹ́ ẹ̀ jáde láti sọ fún ìyálọ́jà pé kí ló dé tẹ́ ẹ̀ ń ti ọjà káwọn èèyàn lè lọ tajà? You can see the hypocrisy there with the Yoruba people. I know that you don't like the Igbo people. The Igbo people don't like you as well. That is the reason why we are saying the sovereignty of every one of us would determine whether we can even live with them or not. But right now, Igbo kúrò nílẹ̀ Yorùbá kò possible. As long as we are sitting together inside this cocoon called Nigeria, nobody can chase away the Igbos. You can try, but you will not be able to do so. Because why? We are still under the entity called Nigeria. But the day that we refuse to be Nigerian anymore, the day that we have our own independent nation, it will be very easy. The Jamaicans are living here. If the British think that they don't have the right to live here, they will remove them. But if they have the right to be here, they will be here. And that goes to Nigerians as well. That goes to all other countries around the world. Even if you have a British passport, they can revoke it as well. So this myopic thinking of our Yoruba, oh, because the Igbos are in Lagos, we can deal with them anyhow. You cannot deal with them anyhow until we leave Nigeria, because everybody is operating under the Nigeria that we are right now. And T.Y. Danjuma told us exactly what Igboho was scared of. Igboho was scared of the killings, and this is why Arise Television 2 years ago could not even find a better headline than saying that, wow, Igboho declare Yoruba nation. Let's listen to that again.
He also called on all traditional rulers in Yoruba land to support the movement.
Igboho called all the Yoruba traditional ruler. And Baba to suffer me again, but I'm talking about Igboho now. That we don't have to, abuse all the kings. We don't have to abuse any other again. I told you that as at some point, yes, we were abusing them. But the moment I went to Nigeria, I met with the late Iku Babayeye. I met with him, and I met with some others that we cannot come and tell you who we met. And I listened to them, I got their message, and I knew what they were telling us, that there are certain things that we don't worry. But at the end of the day, we tone it down. And so today, Igboho tún mọ́ kí n rán yín létí pé òun ò ní ká lọ máa bú ọba kankan gbogbo àwọn tá a ṣe mídíà tá a náà fẹ́ Yorùbá nation. Òun rán wá ń ṣẹ́ pé kíyàn kankan jáde máa bú ọba kankan. He has told me that, and I'm now speaking on his behalf as a spokesperson. And I remain his only spokesperson. Intibade ti sọ Igboho sọ ní láti ṣe máa tún máa lọ bẹ̀rẹ̀ pé Igboho ń gbọ́. Ó ní kí Koiki tún jáde pé kọ́ni kan máa bọ̀ ọba. Ó kàn máa sọ fún yín pé òun lòun rán níṣẹ́. Because I know some of you will still go back and call him. I know some of you have access to him, but Imishinikan is spokesman. And before I came live, I already told him I'll be discussing that issue that he told me. But because of other activities, I couldn't come out. But right now, I am telling you, Igboho ní kẹ́ni kankan jáde kó máa bú ọba lórí orúkọ òun. No. Kò sọ bẹ́ẹ̀ rárá. So if you are still one of those that is doing that, you are not part of this movement. You are just doing that on your own case. We cannot control what you're saying on your platforms, whether you're a blogger, whether you are part of the Yoruba Nation. But right now, I'm speaking as a spokesperson. And I've come out now as a spokesperson. I am just doing now my analysis. Let's come back again quickly and listen to what Igboho was scared of, that T.Y. Danjuma has already told us in advance, because this speech from T.Y. Danjuma has been out before Igboho even told you to come back. And even after Igboho ní kẹ́ padà wá sílé, today, 4 hours ago on Channels Television, in the 16th of July 2023, is coming up to 1600 hours. Same time, like download in Nigeria, which is 4 p.m. That is exactly what Channel says, that 700 people have died in Plateau State. Do you know why? Let's listen again.
Kill Nigerians. They facilitate their movements. They cover them. If you are depending on the armed forces to stop the killings, you will all die one by one.
And they've been dying one by one. Maybe you don't know those have been dying. Maybe we should come back here. These people have been dying one by one because ethnic cleansing is going on there.
Barking Ladi and just south local government areas of Plateau State by terrorists shortly after the swearing in of Governor K.
Terrorists this time around.
It has been one death too many.
One death too many. That is what Igboho was scared of here. That is the reason why Igboho was telling you, come back home, so that you don't become the victim.
The security situation has become very alarming. And the security architecture is like an old abandoned engine that needs to be reserviced and retooled. And you know that when you have an old rusty engine, it doesn't start working optimally from day one. But let me assure the people of Plateau State that we are retooling the security apparatus on the plateau.
Well, they've been saying that for only God knows. But we didn't want to wait for that. Igboho came out, and 2 years ago, again, this is how Arise News, in their morning broadcast, which is the peak time, stated it clearly that Igboho declares Yoruba Nation. Let's go back to that again.
In order to free the Southwest from slavery.
In order to free the Southwest from slavery, the question is now, are we not enslaved? Are we not enslaved people? Maybe you don't know the reason why we are enslaved is because there is just one country in the world that wants to keep everyone together. I don't know why, but this man was able to help us out. Let's listen to him again.
Thinking about how we've been having this conversation about the unity of Nigeria. And I reflect back at some of the prominent statements made by some of our founding leaders. And I feel that probably this will help us to have a conversation on the Nigerian unity. I just brought four, not to bore you. First, and I quote, not my statement, Nigeria is not a nation.
If Nigeria is not a nation, is that not what Igboho is saying, that this country is not a nation? We expect that even if Igboho doesn't know, Jonathan should know. Jonathan was a former deputy governor. He was a vice president. He was a president, well known in Nigeria. He's now coming out to say to us that this country is not a nation. So what has Igboho done differently that warrant for him to be killed? That warrant that his life is now being chased almost every day until July 1st, that Buhari and Yemi Osinbajo, we must remind people that Yemi Osinbajo was those that also gave the order. He's a Yoruba man. Yemi Osinbajo wà lára àwọn tó give order pé kó lọ pa Igboho sínú ilé. But Igboho did not die. So when we are here today, reminding those that do not know where Igboho came from, Igboho did not just jump from anywhere. He went in accordance with exactly what Baba Akintoye wanted him to do. And what was that? Listen so that we do not do things the other way around. Igboho could have fought back on the 1st of July. But he knew that automatically fighting the military was not the way out, but escaping was in the best interest. Because if he has fought back, they could have easily said that Igboho killed 300 soldiers. Even while Loko dead body, soldier and they will tell the international community that we are also speaking to, directly or indirect, that this man that you are looking up to just killed 300 soldiers. But since that they could not pin Igboho in the house, they could not have dead bodies, because they could have just put the dead bodies in front of the camera, just as they put all the weapons. And even Professor Wole Soyinka said, that is cock and bull story. You know what you can do. If anybody believes that, it's totally nonsense. So this is just to remind some of you that Igboho is not a runner, as some of you are saying. No, it was because they wanted to assassinate him. That led to him leaving. And as at the time he wanted to travel, I was on the ground with him, like I always say. It was not because he was going with a false document. Igboho as a resident of another country, which I have, which some of your politicians have as well. So there's nothing wrong in that. He wanted to travel out of the airport that has nothing against him before. He has used that same airport continuously. But because an order was coming from the DSS by Afunaya, oh, some of you forgot that Ijoti Wapawon Lady Sita, Afunaya said that if you Igboho, come mumole. And that was the reason why Igboho was stopped. So today, Benin said, no, let's look into his case. Let's ask questions. We cannot just repatriate him like you did with Nnamdi Kanu, because you kidnapped him. You did not allow the legal process. That's the reason why Igboho should appear in the court in the Benin Republic. In Igboho fi appear in the court here, but Nnamdi Kanu not appear in the court here, nígbà tí wọ́n mú ní Kenya. But because Kenya is also as corrupt, they allowed the facility to be used, because it became a private jet Pakisi. Koto di pe wọ́n move Nnamdi Kanu, but for good 8 days, the bastard dogs did not know where Nnamdi Kanu was. They couldn't be bothered, because they wanted him anyway in the custody. So that by the time Nnamdi Kanu bati wà nínú custody wọn, then the Biafra will just die easily. Until Biafra bá dẹ̀ ti kú, what is the end of it again? But somebody popped out again that nobody knew. Or probably maybe they knew, but they didn't know that it was going to pop out. And let me say this for the Yoruba people, that some of you don't know that Simon Ekpa ran for Nigeria at some point. Oman Sari for Nigeria. He won even gold medal and silver medal. So Simon Ekpa is not new as well to Nigeria, but it's just that Nigerians thought that you are running for Nigeria. Yeah.
Can I get you?
Why now is it that you want to start, asking for the dissolution, the sovereignty of the Biafra? And between the time that Simon Ekpa popped out, it became a problem for the Nigerian state. They were concerned. And the concern was Simon Ekpa took charge of what is now called the Biafra. And from there, a lot of things was happening continuously. And they were scared of him, because those that sold out Nnamdi Kanu did not expect Simon Ekpa to be as strong as these. So they thought that if they have kidnapped Nnamdi Kanu, that will automatically be the end of the Biafra. But Simon Ekpa did not put himself, as so many of these Bole Kaja media in Nigeria have been portraying him, that, oh, he forced himself to be the prime minister, government in exile. No, it doesn't work like that. Simon Ekpa also have different cabinets, also have their own internal that they work with, and they make him as their prime minister. Maybe we should listen to him before we go into the next conversation.
You need to stop addressing me as a self-styled prime minister. I am not a self-styled prime minister. I was elected by the Biafra Republic government in exile cabinet. And if you care to know, you now contact the Biafra Republic government in exile and ask question how Simon Ekpa become the prime minister. You were never part of Biafra government. You are not part of Biafra struggle, but you are quick to address me as a self-styled prime minister.
I am not self-styled Prime Minister. You have to address me properly. I am elected Biafra Prime Minister of the Biafra Republic Government in Exile. It's not self-styled. That is the impression I want to correct. One correct mistake I want to correct this evening is that Nigerian media and their brown envelope should stop addressing me as self-styled Prime Minister.
Well, so you have now got the message. So the government got stuck in between Simon Ekpa coming out to become a very, hardworking, putting the message of the Biafra out there. They started what they called releasing Nnamdi Kanu, so that since that you have brought him to the court, you already have him in your possession. You kidnap him anyway. Why then don't you allow us to deliberate in terms of Nnamdi Kanu being released? Maybe we should start again from Aloy Ejimako. Aloy Ejimako posted this about a few hours ago. The coalition of the northern groups, maybe some of you don't know them, the CNG, has insisted that Nnamdi Kanu must face trial. And I'm asking again, what trial is he going to face? But this is the stake. I'm talking about Aloy Ejimako as the umbrella of the body of the northern groups, which includes the Earthmen. Remember that these are the same people that are killing you every day within the territory known as Nigeria, that the international community refused to listen to. As the umbrella of the northern groups, which includes Earthmen, the CNG is viciously complicit in every murder. Gbogbo ikú tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ pátápátá ní gbogbo Nigeria, wọ́n mọ̀ nípa ẹ̀. But they are not concerned about that. They are saying that they should keep Nnamdi Kanu to face trial. Okay, let's even assume that Nnamdi Kanu has to face trial. Then Simon Ekpa start giving the orders. What is the order? We sit at home. It's a civil disobedience. And maybe some of you don't know what is civil disobedience. Let me quickly educate you and tell you what it means by civil disobedience. It's a way to say that you are not happy, you are not pleased. And if you don't know that, maybe we will educate you this afternoon. So let's look at civil disobedience. Civil disobedience, also called a passive resistance, the refusal to obey the demands or commands of the Nigerian government or occupying power without resorting to violence. Did you hear that? Without resorting to violence. Whatever violence you are seeing in the Southeast is portrayed to put the civil disobedience as a bad eye in the global world. But the world knows that Nigeria is a liar anyway. Àwọn àgbáyé mọ̀ pé Nigeria tell lies. So if you are there thinking that the world is as stupid as Nigerian government and their media, please forget that nonsense. The international community knows that Nigeria is a liar because Nigerian lied during the EndSARS. Do you know that Nigerian government lied? Lai Mohammed lied. Every one of them lied. Even Wikipedia has now got the EndSARS. Do you know that what happened during the EndSARS? There was a mass movement, or what they call the social movement. They locked down, the toll gate. There was nothing wrong in that. They were just saying that, look, the special anti-robbery squad are killing us. But they lied. Even Fashola lied. Remember that Fashola, after a few days, came back and saw a camcorder. Even Tinubu, as at that time, lied. Every single one of them lied. So if you are thinking that telling the Biafra that Angolonko Bonsita and you are going to project that to the international community, they don't listen to that. In Nigeria. Even some of you say, hey, Àwọn Igbo ló lọ sínú palace Ọba Akeolu, is lies. Everybody know that àwọn Yoruba ló wọnú swimming pool lọ kó oúnjẹ jáde lọ ṣe gbogbo ẹ̀ Ọba gan fẹ́ ó ferege. It's lie. It's but because that's the narrative that they wanted to push out there. Push everything on top of Nnamdi Kanu so that when Nnamdi Kanu continue to be told around the world that Owulo fa EndSARS, and maybe I should remind you that even Nnamdi Kanu stated it clearly during this, during this interview he had with Dele Momodu, when he told Dele Momodu when he was asked few questions. Maybe we should listen to this.
It is not in their hands.
Because you know what? Power belongs to the people. Anything we want is what we're going to get. Once again, I want to ask this. Do you think
this dream is realizable without a war. And are you prepared?
Do you know why Dele Momodu is asking that? Because their intention is that àwọn Biafra wọ́n fẹ́ bá government ìjà ogun ni. Let me state it clearly again. The Igbos kan ló wọ palace ọba. Àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá tí wọ́n ń bínú sí Akiolu tí kò ń jẹ́ kó wọnú palace ládùúgbò tó ti gbogbo palace pa àwọn ló wọnú palace. Àdá àwọn ọmọ Igbo níbẹ̀ àwọn ọmọ kéékèèké tá a rí tó ń swim. They are not Igbos. These are Yoruba people. So if anybody is putting that narrative out, you are also part of the brown envelope. That's all I can say. You can put out whatever you want to say. I will say that àwọn tí mo rí ẹ lọ fún mi ní fídíò yẹn again. Kẹ wá sọ pé ọmọ Igbo lélẹ̀. We saw the Yoruba people went into that palace and took as many things they wanted to take. And it was just free for all. Ṣèbí ọ̀pá àṣẹ gan wà lọ́wọ́ Oṣòdì Òkè. Ṣèbí Oṣòdì Òkè gbé ọ̀pá àṣẹ wá sí London. Ṣé Oṣòdì Òkè ṣé ọmọ Igbo lòun náà? And I'm sure now that they have relationships together, I'm sure he must have returned that back. Anyway, ṣèbí ọ̀pá àṣẹ dé London àbí gbogbo wọ̀ rí lọ́wọ́ Oṣòdì Òkè. Ṣé Oṣòdì Òkè ṣé ọmọ Igbo lòun náà? So stop giving this narrative. Àwọn Yorùbá ló ṣe. If you like it or don't take it, that's not my own cup of tea.
To fight another war.
To fight another war because Dele Momodu is trying to extract, just as he wanted to extract from Igboho. We saw that interview. I stopped the interview. Èmi ni mo stop it because mo ti rí area tó ń lọ again. And I told that journalist that is the end of that interview and I stopped it. Maybe some of you didn't know that. Because Dele Momodu, just as the other one, tó ní wọ́n tilẹ̀kùn, àwọn ìyàwó òun ràmàlà fóun, òun ní kí Igboho máa nìṣó ní gọ̀gàn. They are asking questions to twist around Igboho because the more they can twist him, Igboho will voice out and he'll probably give them something. I stopped that interview. I just wanted you to listen. You know, in between this video, we've watched it before. I'm not going to play everything. We knew straight away that the British were also happy. Just put everything on top of Biafra and other answers sílẹ̀. So is Nnamdi Kanu working with Reno? Is Nnamdi Kanu with Aisha Yusuf? Do you know that these are people that were behind the answers as well? And likewise, you know, Omo Falano àti the other guy tó nurse to the stupid and tó bọ́ ṣòkòtò ẹ̀ sí boxer bọ̀bọ̀ tó máa ń ṣe skit yẹn. Ṣé ọmọ Igbo làwọn náà? But at the end of the day, that is so this issue that you think that you can portray the Igbos the way you think, the world doesn't see that way. The world knows that there was a civil war that took place between the British and the Igbos in 1967. Whether we don't want the same war or not, that is the reason why they've now embarked on a civil disobedience. So I don't see where now that a civil disobedience in Lagos State must concern us. They are not talking to me. They are not talking to my brother. They are not talking to our family. He's addressing the Igbos and saying that, look, the only way we can force this government, whether in Lagos State, whether at least they are paying tax. If they don't come, it doesn't mind Lagos State. Lagos State must collect their taxes from them, which they have been paying. And if they don't pay tax, we saw even a Yoruba actress came out and say, "Ẹ gbà mí o, wọ́n ti fẹ́ gba owó tó pọ̀ lọ́wọ́ mi o, òun ti san tax o." People that live in Lagos must pay tax. There's nothing wrong in that. Paying tax is part of any country around the world. But don't come out and say, "Hey, you Biafra, don't come to Lagos and protest." Why? They are not protesting because we came out to protest, we were killed. They are not protesting. Rather than being killed, they are telling their people, sit at home so that nobody end up killing you. Sit at home, take a day off, take 3 days off. It doesn't matter. So that they can force the government to realize that their leader that is kept inside the DSS custody. Are you thinking that nobody knows? But God did not allow such to happen with our own side. Because DSS custody. Do you know what we can be doing? Nobody can foresee. Maybe somebody like me will have done what some of you will not even expect. But Elédùmarè ò jẹ́ kó rí bẹ́ẹ̀. Àwọn alálẹ̀ ò jẹ́ kó rí bẹ́ẹ̀. Àwọn onílẹ̀ ò jẹ́ kó rí bẹ́ẹ̀. Jésù Kristi ò jẹ́ kó rí bẹ́ẹ̀. Ànábì Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam ò jẹ́ kó rí bẹ́ẹ̀ pé wọ́n rí Ìgbòho mú. Tó bá yẹ pé wọ́n mú Ìgbòho ni, I will be the one giving the order. I can assure you that. And I know what I'll be doing because I know what I told Igboho when I went to Lagos State, his house in Ibadan in 2021. But Ọlọ́run fi yẹ kó rí bẹ́ẹ̀. Ọlọ́run ní no, ẹ̀yin ọmọ Yorùbá, àwọn mọ̀ pé ọlọ́pọlọ ni yín. You can beat this government by asking for the sovereignty of your nation without a bloodshed, without fighting. But at the end of the day, we were also infiltrated by Dupe Jagbajantis, the B2B or whatever they call her name. But today, the Yorubas are still standing. We don't have to have a relationship with the Biafra if we have our country. There are countries around the world that doesn't have relationship between Israel and some countries. I know Malaysia as an example. Maybe some of you don't know that. A Malaysian citizen, a mini passport worry because my brother got married to one of them. Passport in Malaysia, what kosibe? You do not visit Israel. Ẹ̀gbọ́n mi dáadáa. Passport in Malaysia, you should not visit Israel. They don't have any ties. Beyond this, I don't know. But I'm talking about 10 years ago. I saw it in their passport. And some sure those in Malaysia will be able to confirm what I'm saying. So that shows that even if we don't want to have relationship with the Biafra when we have our own sovereignty, we can do that. We can cut out any relationship with them. Relationship anyway. There are countries that do talk to themselves. Russia and America sọ̀rọ̀. Do you know that the UK have seized all the wealth of the Russian citizens in this country because they believe that their government have caused the war in Ukraine? Do you know that they stopped taking dollar? They've cut out everything they want to cut. So what we are trying to explain is that this issue between us and the Igbos is not something that we can resolve in Nigeria. It is even much better to resolve when everybody stand on their own. And Igbo to watch a business, we will know whether we want to accept them or not. But you cannot stop it now because we are still in Nigeria. So my advice to those that are, and I'm not addressing this to Iba Gani Adams. I'm just addressing this generally. But he is also a leader, and we expect him to also be talking about the terrorism and the killings that is still taking place in the Southwest on a daily basis that Igboho cannot do anymore because Igboho now has been forced out of the territory known as the Yoruba Southwest. So that is the message this afternoon. That is the message this evening. That is the message to as many of you out there. I know a lot of you have different views and whatever. That's fine. But one thing is, if we remain as one, we will continue to have this issue. And this is the reason why we are saying that a sovereignty of Yoruba is now or never, so that we can stop this fighting between the ethnic groups. I had the opportunity to watch a video on Instagram where they were welcoming back, the SGF. Is it the SGF or the AGF? No, I think it's the SGF. And I was very happy to see their culture. SGF, the Lorry guy. No, I think it's the AGF, Malami. None aside the looting one. I was very happy, they have their own culture. They were doing everything and all that. At the end of the day, this is why we say that we should have separate nation so that I can travel and do video recording with my media if I'm welcome and they can secure my security. But right now that we are all together, SDF is the one from the Yoruba side. Anyway, I think the SDF was Yoruba. So what we are saying is that the longer that we stay together, the more the danger is going to be. Let us come out and let us become one sovereign nation. And that will be a better future. Yeah, the Lorry guy was the chief of staff. Oh, chief of staff, okay, SGF, is the SGF. Thank you so much. So the SGF, secretary to the government of the Federation, welcome in Pada Sidlue, when she service for lady in the church. And I was very happy seeing, their culture, even if they are 5,000, they can have their country. So what I'm just trying to explain to us today is that Igboho, as at 2 years ago, was put out there as declaring Yoruba nation. So if anybody is even saying I'm declaring Yoruba nation, Igboho is the only one recognized in Nigeria as the one that have declared a Yoruba nation, even though we know that it is not officially under the leadership of Professor Adebanji Akintoye. Thank you so much once again. And at this particular time, I'm going to be winding down in just about 15 minutes when this program will come down. I will do more of this analysis for the next few days so that it will be out there for those that are thinking that, Shepewo sọ pé Igboho declare Yoruba nation. Bẹ́ẹ̀ni, o lè má gbọ́ tẹ́lẹ̀, òun ló ti gbọ́ nísìn. Fáǹfààní gbogbo àwọn tí kò gbọ́ gbogbo tí mo ti sọ látẹ̀kan kíkọ̀ ṣe narrative summary díẹ̀ ní èdè Yorùbá. Intan sọ ni pé ní ọdún méjì sẹ́yìn, bàbá wa olóyè Dr. Sunday Igboho nígbà tí àwọn winners tí a ṣe wà pẹ̀lú wọn a ṣe ìjókòó kan tó ń pè ní 90 days force majeure kódà nígbà tí 90 days yẹn pé a tún extended for another month after that wọ́n pe ìjókòó àwọn àwùjọ tí ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ iléeṣẹ́ àwọn tí wọ́n ń ṣe broadcasting àwọn media tí wọ́n wá gba ọ̀rọ̀ lẹ́nu àwọn winners àti bàbá wa tó jẹ́ chairman ìyẹn bàbá wa Professor Adébánjí Akíntóyè bàbá mi Ìgbòho Òòṣà ìmọ́lẹ̀ Yorùbá òun náà tẹ̀lé bàbá wa lọ láti lọ jókòó tì wọ́n láti fẹ́ gbọ́n tó fẹ́ sọ nígbà tí wọ́n ṣe gbogbo ìtọ́ṣe tán níjọ́ yẹn àwọn ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ọ̀rọ̀ jáde gbogbo náà tí a rí fídíò yẹn nígbà yẹn ẹni tó ò bá rí tẹ́lẹ̀ fídíò yẹn ó ti ń circulate àti ní kọ́ pin káàkiri kò ń ṣe fídíò tó ṣẹ̀ ṣe ọdún méjì sẹ́yìn ni a ṣẹ̀ ṣe fídíò náà èmi kọ́ ni mo rìkọ́dẹ̀ Arise Television ló rìkọ́dẹ̀ àmọ́ nígbà tó máa gbé jáde wọ́n ní Ìgbòho declare Yorùbá nation òun ni wọ́n fi ṣe àkọlé ẹ̀ níjọ́ náà lọ́hùn kí ló dé tó ṣe sọ bẹ́ẹ̀ nítorí pé gbogbo ohun tí Ìgbòho sọ pé òun fẹ́ àti tóun ò fẹ́ wọ́n sọ gbogbo ẹ̀ lóòótọ́ àmọ́ in tó ń sọ pé òun fẹ́ níjọ́ náà lọ́hùn òun ni Ìgbòho má sì dúró lé lórí ó ní òun fẹ́ Yorùbá nation kò tí ì yọ ẹsẹ̀ kúrò níbẹ̀ kódà nígbà tí Ìgbòho tó jókòó yìí tó bá sọ fún pé ní ọdún kan sí nígbà yẹn even though a gbọ́ a mọ̀ pé wọ́n ń bọ̀ ìgbà wo ló máa dé òun nìkan la ẹ̀kan tí lè sọ ni gbogbo ìgbà yẹn ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ń sọ pé kí Ìgbòho kó kúrò nílé ó lọ jókòó sẹ́yìn odi díẹ̀ kí wàhálà ìkẹ́ tutù díẹ̀ nítorí pé kí ni àwọn kan sáré kí Bọ́lá Tinubu lè bá di president lótìtọ́ akọni èèyàn ni ó ní ó ní kò rí bẹ́ẹ̀ ó ní wọ́n ń pa àwọn èèyàn hùn ẹ má yẹ kóun sá kúrò nílé ẹ ṣe jẹ́ kóun dúró tóun bá dúró tó bá jẹ́ pé gbogbo àwọn wọ́n bá dá sọ̀rọ̀ tó wà ńlẹ̀ ni ó ní kò bá jẹ́ kó yá ní kíákíá bóyá a ti gbàgbé tí Ìgbòho sọ ẹja gbọ́ díẹ̀ lára tó ṣe sọ pé òun kọ́ ló máa sọ pé kí gbogbo àwọn wọnú igbó lọ àmọ́ àwọn bàbá wa ló gbọ́dọ̀ pàṣẹ yẹn.
orúkọ mi ni Sunday Adéyẹmọ tí gbogbo yẹn mọ̀ sí Sunday Ìgbòho sàmùgbẹ́tẹ̀ bá jọ ọmọ Ìbàdàn tó bá ń gbé kó wọ́n mọ̀ pé ní bàbá Ìbàdàn wọ́n lè mọ̀ pé ẹlẹ́mìí àpè ní Ìbàdàn so ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ yẹn tó bá ń gbé lu òdì kejì tó bá jọ ọmọ bòmí ó kọ ìlú tó ti wá yẹn náà máa fi pè é níbi tó ń gbé èmi náà jẹ́ kan náà tó kópa nínú ogun Mọdákẹ́kẹ́ àti Ifẹ̀ so ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àwọn tó bá gbọ́ sórí ogun yẹn tó ń gbọ́ gbogbo pa tí mo kó mẹ́rin pé ọkùnrin mẹ́rin ogun bàbá yẹn ń gba ogun ó ṣe báyìí ó máa ń jẹ́ kí ẹlòmíràn pé ọkùnrin ni akíkanjú ọkùnrin ni gbogbo wàhálà Ládọjà àtàwọn bàbá dídí búmbàdàn náà gbogbo àwọn tí wàhálà yẹn sojú wọn wọ́n fẹ́ impeach Ládọjà wọ́n fẹ́ yẹ Ládọjà ń pò wọ́n fẹ́ gbàjọba lọ wọ́n fẹ́ yẹ Ládọjà jẹ nǹkankan tèmi dẹ̀ dúró tì ń gbà yẹn gbogbo àwọn tó rí pa tí mo kó láti pé kí wọ́n mọ̀ rí Ládọjà yẹn jẹ́ ń gbà yẹn sùtẹ́lómi bá rí mi rí wọn pé ọkùnrin mẹ́ẹ̀ẹ́dọ́gbọ̀n nìyẹn bí wọ́n ṣe bọ́ta ṣe pọ̀ tó Ọlọ́run ṣẹ́gun wọn fún un èròǹgbà mi lórí ìgbésẹ̀ àwọn Fúlàní yẹn ni pé ẹnu Yorùbá gbọ́dọ̀ kò tí wọ́n bá mọ̀ pé wọ́n fẹ́ ká bá Fúlàní jà káwọn bàbá wa gbogbo àwọn ọba wa gbogbo àwọn bàbá wa wọ́n ṣáájú kàn pè wá sí mítì kàn wọ́n dẹ̀ fún wa pé tó àwọn ọmọ yìí o kí ròyìn dé sì gbé kí gbogbo ayé rí pé tó àwọn ni wọ́n sọ pé tó ká kojú wọn gbogbo ibi tí yàrá ti fẹ́ jẹ Yorùbá ká fèsì ibẹ̀ Ọlọ́run mọ̀mọ̀ mú wa agbára mélòó wà làwọn Fúlàní wà ní wọn ò tó ń tó ń pera wọn wọn fọlọ́gbọ́ra fún yín wọn ò tó ń tó ń pera wọn Ọlọ́run bá lódùmarè ń gbọ́ ṣùgbọ́n tá a bá ní nǹkan tí àwa náà ní lọ́dọ̀ àwọn bàtà jogún náà bàbá ká bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí lò ó sì ká bọ́ta wọ́n sọ wá ló kọ́ míì táwọn bàbá bá mọ̀ pé yà ń jẹ àwọn Yorùbá kàn pe gbogbo wa sí mítìn kàn pe Ọọ̀ni kàn pa Láàfin kàn pa àwọn bàbá Àwùjalẹ̀ gbogbo àwọn ọba yẹn tó bá jókòó kàn wá pè wá kàn invite gbogbo wa wá Ọlọ́run bá lágbára èmi ò tó nǹkan kan àwọn tó tún lágbára jù wá lọ pọ̀ tó pọ̀ jù bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ kàn pe gbogbo wọn jọ so tí èsì tó máa pè wọn jọ tó bá mọ̀ pé lè kan ru wa náà ipá náà sì lè ní pátá lè kó kọ́ pè wá káwájọ jókòó káwo bá ṣe fẹ́ ṣe tí ò ní sí nǹkan kan ẹ̀mí gbọ̀n kankan mọ́ ẹlòmíì náà ń gbọ́ gbòó ni kò wúrí mi rí ẹlòmíì á ní ó lè kọ̀máǹdì mọ́ ó lójú àwọn tí mo ṣe lójú wọn rí ẹlòmíì á ló lè ṣe báyìí ẹlòmíì tí bá ṣe kan lójú ẹ̀ yóò sọ 10 ṣé nǹkan tí mo sọ yìí ẹlòmíì á sì ní ẹnu ni so àwọn tí wàá mọ́ sọ pé nu nìyẹn èmi mọ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ́n kí nǹkan dẹ̀mí àti wọn pọ̀ wọ́n lè rí pé kì í sọ̀rọ̀ ẹ̀nà ṣùgbọ́n pé kẹ́nìkan wá lóhun dìde ṣe èmi ìwọ ni mi Sunday Igboho mo wá bọ́ ọ̀tá o àbá nígbà tí wọ́n bá fi dọ̀tún la Buhari ó pàṣẹ láti Àbújá sọ́jà tí ó ka mọ́ta nkìdé yóò ju tó gun Boko Haram tó ń jẹ́ ilẹ̀ Haúsá lọ wọn ò ríra wọn bẹ̀ yẹn tá a bá dẹ́rẹ̀ wò nísìn ẹ̀ rí i pé wọ́n yìí máa lọ́wọ́ gbogbo táwọn ń ṣe ilẹ̀ Haúsá tó ń mú jẹ yẹn tá a bá dẹ́rẹ̀ wò nísìn wọ́n yìí mú àlọ́ torí pé àwọn Yorùbá kan náà ní ọ̀lọ́ bá wọn lọ́hùn tí wọ́n sọ pé àwọn ọmọ bí wọ́n ṣe wọ́n ṣe nu ń pa ẹ̀ làwọn ọmọ ayákìlá làwọn ọmọ bẹ́ẹ̀ wọ́n yẹn ta la parí ta ìyá yóò la parí ìbíjà iná làlá fẹ́ gbé ohun tó fi gbà sùúrù nìyẹn ó gbọgbọ́n kì í ṣe nǹkan tí yẹn kàn kágbádá ọrùn tó kó funpa tó kó lóńdè tó gbé bọ̀kọ́rùn tó lọ́fẹ́ lọ pàdé Fúlàní o bí bẹ́ẹ̀ kọ́ wọ́n sọ di nǹkan mímọ́ yẹn lọ àfi kéèyàn jókòó kó lọ́wọ́ àwọn bàbá yẹn táwọn bàbá yẹn ó ṣèwé kán sáyìn fún wa pé àwa la ṣèwé fún yín pé ìyà gbọ́dọ̀ jẹ Yorùbá.
ìyà gbọ́dọ̀ jẹ́ ọmọ Yorùbá mo kíyà mi lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí i pé wọ́n káàbọ̀ sórí ètò yìí máa wá sísàlẹ̀ ẹ má bínú mo fẹ́ kó jẹ́ kó ṣọ́ọ̀tì ni torí pé ní wíìkì yìí inter máa fi ṣe program throughout nìyẹn torí ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ tẹ̀ gbọ́ rárá pé arákùnrin kan wà tó jáde ìjáde ẹ̀ ó di wàhálà síjọba lọ́rùn nítorí pé ìjọba rò pé bó ṣe ń bá lọ yìí tá a bá tètè dá ọwọ́ ẹ̀ dúró ó máa kó gbogbo àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá ó ń kó wọn lọ sí ibi tó ń pè ní ilẹ̀ ìlérí tó dáa nígbà tó rí àwọn fídíò báyìí ẹ̀rù bàjọba wọ́n wọnú ilé wọ́n fi lọ pa. ẹja tún wọlé yìí.
àtọmọdé àtàgbà mo kí pé ẹkú àdúró tì mí Ọlọ́run bá tó láyé tó lọ́run yóò bá mi dúró tì tọmọtọmọ orí mi wú inú mi dùn ẹ̀dẹ̀ jẹ́ kí ọkàn mi balẹ̀ pé mo lọ́lọ́run mo dẹ̀ ní gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá nǹkan tí mo ṣe mi ò kábàámọ̀ pé mo sì nǹkan ṣe inú mi dùn kan ayọ̀ mi kún lọ́pọ̀lọpọ̀ torí pé ohun tẹ́ ẹ ṣe ó wú mi lórí ó jọ mí lójú kan bí ayé ṣe gbógun tọ́ta gbógun tí wọ́n ń wá gbogbo ọ̀nà kí àwọn sáà gbógun ti nǹkan tá à ń ṣe bọ̀ ẹ̀ ń kí mi láyà pé kí n fọkàn mi balẹ̀ Ọlọ́run bẹ lẹ́yìn mi ẹ̀ sì wà lẹ́yìn mi Ọlọ́run bá tó wá láyé tọ́lọ́run kò ní padà lẹ́yìn tọmọtọmọ kò ní padà lẹ́yìn tì nígbà tí Ọlọ́run padà sí torí mo mọ̀ pé ó ń sọmọ olóòkú bẹ́ẹ̀ ni àní símọ̀ ya ẹ̀ pé Yorùbá máa bọ́ lóko ẹrú bá ṣe Ọlọ́run nígbà tó lọ́mọ wá ṣe tí bàbá Bánjí Akíntóyè àtàwọn bàbá tí wọ́n wà lẹ́yìn wa tí wọ́n bá ń na fúláàgì Yorùbá nation sókè pé adúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ Ọlọ́run tó fún wa lórílẹ̀-èdè wa wọn ò ní wẹ́nì kọ̀ọ̀kan wa tì láti Ọlọ́run. wọ́n mo fi kí Ọlọ́run mo fi tọrọ àforíjì fún àwọn bọ́dà mi bàbá Táyà àti ọmọ mi Saheed pé kí Ọlọ́run bá tọ́ láyé tọ́lọ́run kó bá mi ṣàforíjì fún ọ. Ọlọ́run kì mọ́ bẹ́yìn ẹgbẹ́ gbogbo nǹkan tó yẹ kó ṣe láyé lórílẹ̀‐èdè Yorùbá tán orí ṣe kí Ọlọ́run bá tó láyé tọ́lọ́run kó bá ń fún àwọn ọmọ wọn àtàwọn ìyàwó wọn ṣe wọ́n sì jù bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ. Mo tọrọ fún àwọn tí wọ́n kó lọ́nu ilé náà láwọn tó dúró ṣinṣin wọn yẹsẹ̀ Ọlọ́run bá tó láyé tọ́lọ́run kò ní padà lẹ́yìn tí wọn náà. Bí àyẹ̀dí àjẹgbé fún wọn láwọn tó dúró tó yẹ pé tọkàntọkàn ni wọ́n fi jìyà yẹn wọ́n sì dúró tìsín náà wọn padà kò ní jìyà yẹn lájẹgbé. Gbogbo ẹgbẹ́ wa pátápátá gbogbo ẹgbẹ́ lọ́gbà nítorí tí bá ní mo dá ẹgbẹ́ mélòó mo fẹ́ dárúkọ gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá àtọkùnrin àtobìnrin tó náwó lé mi lórí láti lé dóko home and abroad tẹ náwó tẹ náírà tẹ sí wàhálà tẹ jẹ́ kó rẹ̀yìn tẹ jẹ́ kí n mọ̀ pé mo lọ́lọ́run mo sì léyìn ẹsẹ̀ ẹ ń bẹ lẹ́yìn mi àlọ́lọ́run ní padà lẹ́yìn gbogbo yìí. Ọlọ́run pé nígbà tẹ́yìn dúró tì mí èmi náà dúró ṣinṣin mi ní dalẹ̀ gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá láyé mo dúró ẹsẹ̀ ní ọyẹ mo wà pẹ̀lú yín títí tá a fi jọ débi tá a lọ mi ní yẹsẹ̀ mi dẹ̀ ní dalẹ̀ yín láṣẹ Ọlọ́run ẹ ṣe mo dúpẹ́ ẹ gan.
And that is in tó fún wọn ní concern ni pé ọdún méjì ní fídíò tí a fi wọ̀nyí tí olóyè jáde tó dúró lẹ́yìn ọdún méjì ó sì tún dúró ó níṣẹ́ òun ò ní dalẹ̀ gbogbo yín rárá ẹ̀yin tẹ́ bá wá dalẹ̀ nìkan ló kù sí lọ́wọ́ bọ́tọ̀ òun ò ní dalẹ̀ ọmọ Yorùbá mo torí ẹ̀ mo kí gbogbo alẹ́ nǹkan sí pé Ọlọ́run ọba Elédùmarè òun ló ní ìmọ̀ òun ló ń kọ́ wa mọ̀ ṣe mo dúpẹ́ fún ẹ̀gbọ́n mi dáadáa Àmọ̀tẹ́kùn torí pé ara tiyín òun náà la tún fi gbé ilé ìta à ń ṣe lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ yìí mo kí gbogbo àwọn Yorùbá world media mo kí gbogbo àwọn media pátápátá mo kí ọmọdé mo kí àgbàlagbà mo kí gbogbo tó ń pè ní ilẹ̀ Yorùbá mo kí bàbá mo kí ìyá mo kí ọmọdé mo kí ẹni tó kéré jù láàrin wa mo kí ọmọ Yorùbá tó ṣẹ̀bí lẹ́nu kódà gbogbo àwọn Yorùbá tí wọn ò tí ì fọkàn sí pé kí Yorùbá kúrò nínú oko ẹrú tá wà kò ṣe wàhálà bó bá yá ayé olúkálukú kò tí ì yé wọn débi tí nǹkan tí Ìgbòho ń fẹ́ ni tí ó bá yé wọn dáadáa àwọn ọlọ́mọ sọ fún Ìgbòho pé bàbá ó ti yé wa ju bá ṣe ń fẹ́ lọ mo lọ bẹ́ẹ̀ mo kí yín ní Kwara State mo kí yín ní Kogi State mo wá sí Èkìtì mo kí yín ẹ̀yin ará Oǹdó mo kí yín pátápátá mo kí yín ní ìlú Ọ̀ṣun mo kí yín bẹ́ẹ̀ ní Ọ̀yọ́ State mo kí yín ní Ògùn State mo kí yín ní Lagos State mo kí gbogbo wa náà tí a wà ní gbogbo ibi tí a wà ní ẹ̀ka káàkiri gbogbo àgbáyé èmi náà ni Ọláyọmí Kóìkì tí gbogbo yín máa ń pè ní Kóìkì Media mo sọ pé èmi ni last man standing analysis yìí ọjọ́ 5 la máa fi ṣe ní different angle ẹ má bínú pé àní lè gba call lénìí bòbí alọ́la àgbà call nígbà tá a bá ti ṣe 1 hour mo kí wa lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí pé Yorùbá nation ó ti di dandan Yorùbá sovereign nation kò ń ṣe wàhálà Yorùbá republic ìkan náà ni Yorùbá kingdom ìkan náà ni but Yorùbá nation no going back ká sọ yẹn ní 2 years ago tí Arise fi gbé jáde pé arákùnrin kan wà tí wọ́n ń pè ní Ìgbòho ó ní àyà tó pọ̀ ó declare Yorùbá nation ní kíákíá kódà declaration táwọn sọ yẹn àìtí declare ẹ̀yẹn kọ imagine nígbà tásìkò bá tó tẹ́lẹ̀dùmarè sọ pé ó ti yá tí bàbá Akíntóyè sọ pé ó ti yá àwọn tó ń béèrè péjọ ló máa yá yẹn ẹnì kan lọ wo 2 years ago pé 2 years ago a declare rárá wọ́n ti bá wa sọ pé a declare tá bá wá jáde tán tí a make declaration yẹn tí a dẹ̀ dúró tí dáadáa kẹ́rí pé ìyàtọ̀ máa wà pẹ̀lú Dagboru tó náà òun ṣe kí ni òun ti fún yín nílùú ìlú kọ́ ìlú ni mo kí gbogbo ilé nǹkan sí mo nílé dá gbogbo orúkọ yín mo fi Elédùmarè mo fi kí yín thank you so much to the back end team that are working tirelessly and also to every single one of you mo kí àwọn Biafra mo kí àwọn Ambazonia mo kí àwọn Scottish mo kí àwọn Welsh mo kí gbogbo àwọn tí wọ́n fẹ́ sovereignty tira wọn náà bí àwa náà ṣe ń pariwo pé a fẹ́ sovereignty la kúkú ń béèrè kò ń ṣe bí ìjà mo kí yín lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí mo kí yín mo fi tọlọ́run kí yín mo fi tẹlẹ́dùmarè kí yín mo fi ti ànábì kí yín what God cannot do does not exist. And on that note, I will leave every single one of you to have a very beautiful Sunday. Today once again is the 16th of 7th of July 2023. Mo lè lọ kí n má kí ẹ̀yin tẹ́ wà lórí Mixlr mo kí yín dáadáa mo kí Akin Games mo kí Comrade Plan B mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ gbogbo yín fún àdúrótì mo kí gbogbo ẹ̀yin tẹ́ ń gbọ́ wa láti ilé mo kí ẹ̀yin tẹ́ wà lórí TikTok mo kí ẹ̀yin tẹ́ wà lórí Instagram mo kí ẹ̀yin tẹ́ wà lórí Twitter and I hope you've enjoyed the presentation mo kí gbogbo yín pátápátá thank you so much mo kí yín mo dúpẹ́ gbogbo feedback yín náà là ń tẹ̀lé I will try and work with it but nobody can stop the way I operate but thank you so much keep the feedback coming I can assure you I am a listener I do listen but Yoruba nation is no going back ẹni tó bá ní Twitter abẹ nítorí Elédùmarè ẹ open Twitter bó ta tẹ jẹ́ pé hashtag Yoruba nation nìkan ìyẹn náà tó hashtag Yoruba nation lẹ bá ń push out lójoojúmọ́ mo kíyàwó tó ń ṣe lójoojúmọ́ mo ń rí yín Ọlọ́run bá ń rí yín. Everyone is doing and playing their role. Ẹ má jẹ́ kó sú wa, ẹ má jẹ́ kó rẹ̀ wá. Tinubu ò delay wa, kò stop wa. Báyìí tí jáde láti bẹ̀rẹ̀ protest or anything. Eléyìí tá a ṣe ń ṣe yìí náà, ó ń dọ́dọ̀ wọn l'Abuja, ó ń dọ́dọ̀ àwọn gómìnà, ó ń dọ́dọ̀ gbogbo àwọn ọba. And they know that nígbà tá a ṣe sọ pé no going back náà ni wọ́n mọ meaning ẹ̀. Torí pé 2 years ago, there's gba call, nobody's going to call, I'm not taking any call, ẹ má bínú. Once again, I gotta go now. But one thing is, to my beautiful mother, love you so much, especially for the hard work in your old age that you are doing behind the scene. Ọlọ́run bá tá mi dúró tì, á fún yín lálàáfíà, á fún yín lẹ́mìí gígùn. No retreat, no surrender. Mo sọ fún yín pé lórí tèmi gbé dání, mo níṣẹ́ mi 24/7. Tí n bá sí online, mo wà offline. Ẹ máa tẹ̀lé mi lórí Twitter. Ta ló ti ṣí thread? African Confidential mi dárúkọ gbogbo yàn. Àjọ ń pàdé lórí Twitter ni. Ẹ jẹ́ kájọ máa pàdé náà lórí Twitter. Kó má jẹ́ pé gbà tá a bá wà live nìkan lè máa rí wa báyìí. Let's keep the interaction going. Mo kí gbogbo media live tẹ́lẹ̀ kankan sílẹ̀. No retreat, no surrender. Bàbá Akíntóyè, ẹ ti bẹ́ àwọn ọmọ tó dáa. Ẹ fọkàn yín balẹ̀. Ẹ máa sùn, ẹ máa jí. Ẹ fi tó kúlẹ̀ fáwọn media. We will tell them. Nítorí ọmọ tẹ́lẹ̀ pé wàhálà tẹ́ ń ṣe kò ń ṣe fún ẹ̀yin mọ́. Torí èmi, torí àwọn ọmọ mi, torí ọjọ́ ọ̀la ni. Yoruba nation has come to stay. Yoruba nation is the final solution. Yoruba nation, no going back. Bye for now.
She